I thought I'd try something new. I came across this subreddit called CS Career Questions, and there's a lot of people asking some common questions that I'm sure a lot of you are concerned about or would love some insight on. I've been a software engineer for 3 years. I'm making over 200K a year, so I have some good insight to share as well. Let's get started. Let's find some interesting and juicy questions to look over. All right, let's look at this one. How frequently should I expect offers? So this person, more poopus, say you're an engineer with 6 years of experience in a common tech stack. You've also got a clean resume that clearly showcases your experience. You're an average engineer, not bad, not a star. You're applying broadly to anything that has overlap between what you've done and what they require. How frequently should you expect to get an offer based on these factors? This question is a little bit tricky to answer because a lot of the times the number of offers you get is solely dependent on the market. In a bull market, especially in early 2021, you would get tons of competing offers because tech companies were receiving massive amounts of investments because interest rates were zero. So tons of cash to deploy. And so there was a lot of hiring going on. So at that time, you could expect quite a few offers. But after obviously now that the market's, rolling down a bit and we're in a bear market, there's a lot of layoffs happening. Zero offers is the current trend. You might be lucky to have one or two, but most likely you won't have any. So it's really dependent on the market. I wouldn't look too deep into your personal experience. Obviously, your interviewing skills, your resume writing skills do make a difference. The more experienced you are, the better you get at it. And also the more experienced you are, the more sought after you are because tech companies typically look for seniors. You will be looking at, maybe as a senior, you might be hovering over, I'd say 1 to 2 offers a year, maybe 3. If you're actively looking, obviously that number is higher, but I'm talking passively. If you're a junior and you're looking passively, you might not get any offer. For a junior or intermediate, you got to actually go and seek out opportunities, especially in a bear market. All right, let's go find another one. All right, so this one's pretty interesting. Is it worth going into CS if you genuinely love it but aren't very smart? I see so many posts from people upset they get into CS because they just wanted a high paying job and weren't interested in computer science. I'm not concerned about making as much money as possible. I just love math, programming, and computer science, all of it. I'm just an idiot. I struggle understanding math topics like linear algebra, multivariate calculus, and linear regression. Even if I do enjoy learning them, I've allegedly passed these classes, but I don't think I really know those topics compared to my peers. I'm pretty sure my professors just passed me out of pity. Is it worth it to try to get into this field if I'm going to be competing against people way smarter than me and way more talented than me in a nightmare job market? First of all, I just want to clarify, you don't sound dumb at all. You sound pretty smart. It sounds like you're going through imposter syndrome right now, where you feel as though everyone else is smarter than you. And this is actually a common trend amongst the entire world population. Everyone in the workplace feels like everyone else is smarter than them. And this is usually due to specific people are specializing in specific areas. And oftentimes when they're explaining certain topics to you, it goes over your head because you haven't done years and years of research and you haven't spent as much effort and time into that as they have. So they often look smarter, but it's just because they've been specialized in niche. And the second of all, the actual real world software engineering jobs, unless you're in a very specific position like research or you're working for a university, most likely you're not going to be touching any of the skills you've described. Like you're not going to be touching linear regression as a software engineer at a startup, even at a FANG company. You're not going to be. Most of the time, you're going to be working on a specific button or feature set, or you're going to be putting together different pieces of pages, components together to create a functional web application. That's 80 to 90% of your job. And then if you get into DevOps, obviously, then you're looking into scaling infrastructure and high performance compute. That's a different story. But again, you're more than likely not going to be going deep in detail the math and statistics behind things. Most of it's abstracted by some genius, 20 years ago. And you're mostly going to be interacting with their libraries and reading their documentation instead. So I wouldn't be too worried about the industry if I were you. All right, let's continue. Let's find another one. All right, this one's pretty interesting. I feel like I'm being forced out of development. I was laid off 9 months ago and I haven't gotten offers. I am getting a no code support role next month. It feels like my career hit a dead end 1 year out of university. How do I even begin to bounce back? I cannot find opportunities in Canada. It frustrates me to no end that the person who did no work during my capstone is holding a dev job, and literally no one will give me the time of day. I'm really sorry to hear that. It does sound like the career trajectory that you're currently going through is pushing out of development, but I just want to make something very clear. You're very early on in your career and you have tons of times to pivot back into software. It's not once you take a QA job or once you take a no code job, you can never develop again. That's not the case. And again, like you said, you're only 1 year out. Just earn your money, pay off your loans, give yourself some time, and then on the side, pick up side projects, build stuff, try different things out, figure out what your niche is. If you're a backend engineer, front end, full stack, data science, AI, there's so many different niches within software. You got to figure what you are interested in and you got to pursue that. And then once you've felt comfortable enough to secure a job, then start going. And then the second thing is market is really bad right now. So I wouldn't worry too much about the job prospecting. As of right now, just take what you can get. I think until 2025, 2026, we're going to be dealing with the bear market. Just keep your head up, continue, you'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with you. All right, let's do one more. I don't want to make this video too long, but let's scroll down and find one more. Ooh, I love this one. What sets apart a great software engineer from an average one? I'm talking about mid-senior levels. Average software developers should be able to get the work done, but what differentiators does a great software engineer have? Software architecture, soft skills, design patterns, lead skills. I want to go from average to great one. This list that you've described, it's pretty much all of them. So a great software engineer should have a fundamental understanding of what good architecture is. Obviously, there's like a million ways to build the same piece of software, but you have to have some general understanding, some general methodologies that you follow. You've done some research, you've built a few projects, and you have something in your resume to show. That is pretty much all you need for the architecture side. In terms of soft skills, that is a very, very important one. And a lot of good software engineers are really good at this. Their technicals might be outweighed by their soft skills. And that includes communication and negotiation. That includes project management. And that includes general likability if you like working with that person. Honestly, even the last one, just general likability, that can 10x a team's productivity. If you have one bad apple in the team, the productivity in that team goes downhill. But the moment everyone's very level-headed, very understanding, very collaborative, the productivity in the team skyrockets. And that's why companies spend millions and millions of dollars in culture. Netflix literally wrote a whole handbook of culture. They hired head of people, head of culture. They literally are spending so much money in that area. It's important, that's why. Design patterns, obviously, that again goes back to software architecture. You have to have some general understanding of proper design patterns. I'd say like after you've MVC for the good one, for example, there's tons of other ones. Once you've gotten one down that's relatively used across the industry, you're fine. Lead skills, yeah, leadership skills is very important. A good software engineer multiplies the productivity of the whole team, not just their own. So that's where you want to get to. You want to get to a point where you're able to level up your entire team. Cool. I think that's all we want to cover today. If this is interesting to you, please drop a comment. If you have questions, also drop a comment. I'll try to answer them all. And subscribe, and hopefully I'll make another one. Peace.